and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you're doing really well and staying safe. We are doing today our top 10 forgotten but amazing PS3 games. Very, very excited to share this with you guys. I have huge passion for, especially like Sony games that are a little bit old school, you know, ones that we back in the day might have played them and thought, yeah, this is alright, but now playing them again, we actually realize how fucking good they are. So, let's jump straight into it. So yeah, PS3 games. Now at number 10, I'm going to make sure I count that correctly. Number 10 is Alien vs. Predator. I know I've put this in another list previously, but I love this game. It's just flat out fun. Again, you can play as Predator, you can play as Alien and a Marine too. All with varying different experiences. Obviously, because you've got 3 campaigns, they're going to be quite short individually. But some great Predator gear. You get all the classic. You actually get 2 plasma shooters, so it's awesome. You can go toe to toe with with the aliens as well. Also, special mention, if you guys haven't heard of the PS2 forgotten gem, Predator Concrete Jungle, that is by far, in my opinion, the best Predator game, period. Check those out. Now, on to number 9 is God of War Ascension. Amazing game. Obviously, so I've got a bit of a note here as well. Make sure you play it fully updated, because I'd played this a couple of years ago. I've still got a copy of it actually. Really, really great. It talks about Kratos' service prior to becoming the God of War and all that kind of story, which you guys obviously should check out if you haven't already. But it's awesome. You actually get to fight or refight the the Mongol that was about to kill Kratos, and that's where he begged Ares for his powers. So you get a lot more into the backstory of Kratos. But the original release was buggy as hell. We're talking games with T-poses, all that kind of shit. So as long as you update it, it's a fucking awesome game. Now, moving on, we are on to number 8, which is Red Dead Redemption. No. Although that's a fucking great game. That's not on this list though, because everyone knows about it. This is Red Faction Guerrilla. I have, again, spoken about this in a few other lists, but in terms of sheer fun, this is amazing. It's so cool. You can blow everything up. Everything. And you're on Mars. If you're a fan of the Red Faction universe as well, you should jump straight into it because it does references a couple of other points, which is awesome. Now, the other list, which I'm talking about, which is going to be a little bit controversial, which is number 7. I loved it. I thought it was one of the scariest games I've ever played. But it was awesome. But it did did shift from what genre it was in, which is Doom 3. Amazing in terms of the lighting and what it did at the time, the effects, and I remember playing it because it was like $50 on PC at that point. And headphones in, this far away from the screen, and I shit myself. There was one point I can still remember. You're walking up to a door. That's my Doom Marine. Anyway, you walk up to the door, and you hear a little girl laughing, and then you hear it. She's like saying like "Save me" or some shit like that. I can't remember correctly. But then you turn around, and you see these bloody footsteps on the floor, which is crazy. And you follow them and they just disappear, but it's actually really fucking terrifying too. So check it out. Again, it'll be like $10 to $15 on the PSN network at this stage. Moving on is another kind of God of War. I'm not going to say clone. It's a little bit more of a it's definitely got the God of War aesthetic. I love the premise of this game. I didn't really enjoy how it was set up because it's essentially the game is one big cutscene, and permeated with some quick time events and stuff. But look, it's awesome, and it's Azura's Wrath. Again, the DLC. You needed the DLC to finish the game, so that probably wasn't the best thing. But an absolutely awesome gem, and now it's pennies. All of these games, because they're old gen stuff, they're going to be super cheap. So if you need some ideas during this lockdown, especially if you live in Victoria, check them out. I know we're still keeping the posty stuff open. If you can get them, or if you've got them laying around, chuck them back in. Fire up your old PS3 You know, it's really, really cool. Again, it's a bit of another controversial game, which is Batman Origins. Now, even I was one of the people that didn't quite, what's the word? Didn't quite, didn't quite gel with this originally. But since replaying it, I actually prefer it to some of the Arkham games in terms of, that was done by Rocksteady. This was originally, this Batman Arkham Origins, or Batman Origins, was done by Warner Brothers Montreal. So different, they had the permission and the licenses, and they could use the assets. I think they did a much better job in terms of the boss battles, in terms of the storyline as well. Obviously, we are missing the voice actors. We're missing Kevin Conroy, who is Batman, and then we don't have Mark Hamill on this, the Joker. You do miss that, and that is but look, if you just pretend for a little bit, it's fine. But in terms of gameplay, it's set at Christmas. You actually get to. It was the first, as far as I'm aware, it was the first actual game that was set where you could play inside Gotham, and it wasn't like Arkham City or Arkham Asylum where you were designated. You're actually in Gotham, which is really, really cool. And you actually get some psychological pinpoints where, like, how does Batman come to deal with the Joker? He's a new enemy. He's never fought someone like that before, someone who's that mental. So there's that side of it as well. Now, moving on. Number four is DMC4, Devil May Cry 4. Now, this is probably, a lot of people love Devil May Cry. I love Devil May Cry myself. This was, again, a little bit controversial, because it shifted from Dante as the main hero. And a bit of trivia, I still name every online character, every character that I start, I usually name Dante. I gotta watch this fucking... Yeah, I name it Dante. So, all of my Dark Souls characters, they're all called Dante. So, yeah, that's just how much I love Devil May Cry. DMC4 did change things up again, but I think they nailed it. I think they did a fantastic job in terms of the storyline sucks you in, and then halfway through it, you actually get to play as Dante. You get all the red orbs and all that kind of stuff, which is really cool. Amazing game. Again, there's a HD collection out. If you haven't checked it out, try it because it's fucking awesome. Anyway, moving on. Now, we are talking about number 3, Dead Space. Now, it's not the first one because the first one was a huge hit. It's Dead Space 2 and Dead Space 3. Now, 3 especially, again, has been a little bit controversial because it did kind of incorporate, co-op mechanics and that kind of stuff. It did shift, very much like Resident Evil 5 and 6. They shifted towards, you're in a horror setting, but it's essentially an action game. Again, great. At the time, people wanted more traditional, like Dead Space, so it kind of got swept under the rug. I loved it. I finished them all. Actually, that's a lie. I never finished Dead Space 2. Finished the first one and the third one. I got stuck at a save point in Dead Space 2 where I didn't have enough ammo. But I'll probably be going back to that because it's a fucking awesome game and I've got it just sitting there. Now, drum roll. We are at the final 2. Now, I'm going to spill the beans. The final 2 actually is 4 games because it's a bit of a series. Which I thoroughly love, and I do think that these games were slept on a little bit, or especially the first one, they got kind of mixed up, or there was just too many games being released at this point, so they just kind of got forgotten about, essentially. Now, number 2 is the Castlevania remakes. That's Castlevania 1, and then Castlevania Lords of Shadow, which is number 2. Awesome, and this is where it gets really controversial, because for the first time in the whole Castlevania series, you get to play as, although you play as Belmont, you get to play as Dracula. Now, you get to play as Gabriel Belmont, which, if you play the first one is legendary. You've got Robert Carlyle, the Scottish actor, doing the voiceover. You've got Patrick Stewart as Death. The boss battles, literally, I cannot recommend this game enough because I got up to the first boss battle and I thought it was the last boss battle. Amazing game, Castlevania. And it incorporated different aspects from different games. So it kind of took a little bit from here, like Shadow of the Colossus, God of War, some arcadey puzzle games. And it was developed by Konami too. Back when I'm pretty sure Hideo Kojima was still working with them. So amazing. And even Castlevania Lords of Shadow 2, where you're kind of... It's actually set in the modern day. That's what the big reveal was at the end of... I'm not going to spoil too much, but it's set in the modern day. But the castle itself is calling you back, and it really delves into why the Belmonts exist, why Dracula exists, why you've got this kind of dichotomy of did I say that right? Whoo, maybe. But look, I cannot recommend it enough. I was absolutely blown away with, again, the quality, the game mechanics, the actual gameplay of this, and the length. Perfect. And the lore, holy shit, it's got such a good vibe to it. Now, moving on to our number one top forgotten amazing PS3 game. Now, these ones I have literally just finished, and it's a two-parter as well. So, you guys probably saw this coming. Now, it's The Darkness. Darkness 1 and The Darkness 2. I've literally just finished both these games. I picked these games up for $5 to $6, $7 each. So they were nothing. The Darkness blew me away. I had previously played the second one, and I had previously played the first one, but I got so lost. Now let me explain. Let's do a little bit of a deep dive here into, again, a bit of the Darkness lore. So some of you might be wondering, who is the Darkness? Now, the Darkness is a comic book character. Essentially, it was by Top Cow. The Darkness is, think Venom. Venom meets the devil, or at something even more powerful. So, the Darkness is this ancient entity which is essentially everything evil, I guess, but it is hugely powerful, and it needs a male host to sustain itself in this world. So, and you've got various, throughout time, you've had other darknesses. The opposite of that is the Angelus. The Darkness 1 doesn't really, it just talks about it, but the Angelus comes into play in the 2. But anyway, so you play as a person called Jackie Estacado. He's a mafia hitman, and the Darkness manifests itself or takes control of its host on the host's 21st birthday. And it can only be, like, generally it's a family, so it's a bloodline thing. Father passes it to son. So the minute the Darkness has sex with someone else, like an actual human, it gets passed on and they lose it. The host still continues, but the Darkness has moved on into the child and is sitting there dormant until the 21st. So you play as the Jackie Estacado on your 21st birthday. A couple of big shout-outs as well. It is one of the... Although it's like a fucked up action game, it is one of the most organic / like romantic scenes in the game, which is like... It like breaks my heart every time. So you actually... So your Uncle Paulie has sent out these hitmen to kill you. The Darkness manifests, and you're just like... killing everyone and whatever. So, and obviously this... You know that Uncle Paulie's going to come for you at some stage. So, you find Jenny, who's your girlfriend, and you just kind of, I don't know, she's like asking you, right, and you go, yeah, look, it's all fine. And then you kind of walk in, and you sit down on the couch, and she sits here, and it's really, I don't know, it's really well done. It's really romantic. Oh, fuck it, Mike, forgive me. And yeah, and then you can actually sit there and watch a whole movie. I think they've got Catcher in the Rye. You can literally sit there and watch the whole film, an hour and a half, before you have to. You're not prompted. It's totally up to you. I think that's a great piece of thing. I think it's a great piece of content they've included into it, which is amazing. And again, as you progress, shit gets real, it gets darker. You end up actually going to hell a few times, and you start to figure out what the Darkness is doing. And another big shout out is in the Darkness 1, they actually include full comics. So there's so much collectibles. You dial numbers, and each number has like a secret message or a secret like telephone number. It's really fucking cool. Then you can actually go in and, You can actually go in and read these comics. You've got the original Darkness, you've got Witchblade, you've got a couple of other Top Cow comics, and then you've got, I think, about 3 or 4 comics that were specifically written for the Darkness video game lore. And it talks about, I think this sums up the Darkness perfectly, is when the Darkness actually goes to Jackie's great-grandfather when he's in World War II, and he says that he manifests himself. Interestingly, he takes the form of Jackie. So the Darkness has powers over time and space and can rewind shit too as well. So he's pretty much omnipotent. Now, when he manifests to Jackie's grandfather, great-great-grandfather, whatever it is, he actually says to him, your son's going to be the host, but you're going to die in about 10 minutes by there's 6 Nazis over there. And he tells them how they're going to die. And then he's also explaining, he's like, look, I'm not the devil. I'm here to essentially help. Obviously, Jackie's great-great-grandfather accepts it, and then shit goes wild, and then the Darkness finishes that sentence, and he actually says, I'm not the devil, I'm worse. I taught him everything he knows. It's like, oh shit, and then you kind of realize how powerful this kind of creature is. That's all about the Darkness 1. Some awesome twists and turns. Now, you've got the Darkness 2, which follows on with that. It has a bit more of a cell-shaded technology, or whatever. I actually don't like it. I think it's a bit gimmicky, but it follows the story. And again, there's more twists and turns. You get more powers. You can quad-wield shit. In terms of fun, it is ridiculous. It is so cool. You can literally pick up car doors and swing them and slice people, and you've got like this arm cutting people up, but you got 2 shotguns, blah, blah, blah. But that is essentially my top 10 forgotten amazing PS3 games. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. There will be definitely more to come. Again, thank you so much for joining me. Make sure you stay safe, and we will talk to you soon. Again, thank you so much. Please like and subscribe as well. And if you haven't checked out my new single, Safe, it's on Spotify, available now. You can also check out my new album, which is coming very, very soon. I'm literally waiting for the process to be done, and then I'll drop everything. So there'll be a new single coming, a new single, and then the album very soon. Thank you so much, guys. All the best.